Hello, ladies. Lenka here, back with Face Forward Summit, and we are here today with Dr. Erin. Welcome, Dr. Erin. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Lenka. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming, because you are someone I met about a year ago, and it was one of those meetings that you walk into and you know that it's like special, everything about it was special. Everything was like very detail oriented, the way it was set up, the people, how you're sitting, and like the whole content of it, and everything is just like, when I look at you, it's like, I want to say divine, but that's
my favorite word in the English
language. Well, let me just tell people who you are so that they know what we are talking about here. So I have a list, ladies, because like the achievements are again like list long. So let me read it to you. Dr. Erin is Doctor of Divinity. She is a CEO of Society. She is a TV host of A Good Morning La La Land. She is an international best-selling author. In 2016, she received a Global Peace Award. She is a self-made millionaire. She is a top-rated iTunes podcaster. Forbes named her one of the 11 most inspirational female entrepreneurs to watch on Instagram. I mean, how great is that? She is a mom. You're a mom as well. And would you ladies agree? She's one of the most gorgeous women I've ever seen. Like, you're so pretty. Like, that's why I say divine, because everything around you, like that energy around you, is just very, just very special. So welcome to the show. I am so happy that we get to do this interview today together. And please tell us, Dr. Erin, where did it all start for you? And I know that you are up to big things with women and helping women. So could you please tell us a little bit more about that as well?
Sure. And I'm really honored to have the conversation about beauty, because I do think that we have to shift our concept of what beauty is as women, knowing that, I was bulimic from the time I was 17 to 20. I dealt with a lot of low self-esteem issues my entire life, a lot of confusion. Came from no money. We went to the thrift store literally growing up, and very codependent majority of my life. So I think that it's a really important conversation. So I first just want to, honor you, because this is how the shift happens in these conscious conversations. So thank you for that. Yeah. So my journey, I mean, it's hard to say where your journey began, right? So my real big wake up call was when I was 22 and I had a stillborn son. I was full term pregnant, and I was in nursing school, and I had read what to expect when you're expecting. If your baby stops moving in you should go get it checked out. And I got it checked out, and sure enough, he had passed away inside of me. So I went immediately into, you have to give birth to your, dead baby. So you have to go into full labor, and, 6 hours later, I gave birth to his body. And at that point in time, you grieve by bathing your dead baby, taking pictures with your dead baby, and going home without your dead baby. So the next day I woke up, I was 22, mind you, and my parents, they were beautiful. They didn't know what to do. They didn't come. I was all alone. And so the next day I went into the mortician's house and went down into this dark, room, and basically had a moment. I had a moment with myself, with the universe, with God, my higher self, whatever you want to call it. And I was looking down his body and realized he's gone and his body is still here. We're not these bodies. And it sent me on what now has been, I don't know how many years, I can't do the math, 25 years now of a spiritual track, and just really diving into it. I've been, like I said, bulimic before that, very sad inside. And, the truth is there are truths, and you can get healed. And so that is what's become my mission and why I'm up to so much stuff, because it's given me my life. This work's given me my life.
Wow. And in one of the interviews we said sometimes it takes a breakdown for us to have the breakthrough and to kind of figure out who we are meant to be on this planet, in this lifetime. But wow, that story is the saddest thing I've heard someone say on the show. So I'm really sorry you had to go through that.
It's actually the biggest blessing of my life. And I think that that's the shift, and that's the paradox of life, is that oftentimes the hardest things are actually the biggest blessings. Usually when we are having everything go great, it's not necessarily a blessing because sometimes we don't have growth and sometimes we don't value things as much. And so that incident gave me my awakening, and I attribute it to that. And so I have no more sadness around it, knowing that eternal life, knowing that my son, I do have a 24-year-old son now. And so it's all blessings. It's all blessings in disguise.
Yes, yes. And so you became this public personality. You are a TV host. You are in Hollywood, a big name in Hollywood. So I would like to hear what took you to Hollywood. What
Yeah,
started your
a great question,
professional
right?
journey?
I was actually, well, I never planned on being a doctor of divinity. I didn't even know that exists. I definitely never planned on being a minister because I was anti any religion growing up. And we don't teach gods outside. We teach energy. We teach the backing of energy, which is us, which is the consciousness. So what
Mm-hmm.
happened was I began to just kind of seek my own healing. I wasn't ever thinking I was going to teach anything. I just wanted to figure out what was going on. I began to read every book, take every seminar, trying to just dive into everything. And what happened over time is, as Joseph Campbell says, the student becomes a teacher, right? So I began to get really into the work, and I began to realize oh, this is actually what I'm going to probably do for the rest of my life. I actually, kind of handed it over to the work. But so what happened was I was in ministerial school, and in what's called New Thought, Science and Mind ministry. It's kind of like the law of attraction
Mm-hmm.
ministry. And I remember I would pray and meditate to my higher self, asking, use me for the highest good. And I thought, pulpit type of ministry doesn't really speak to me. And I feel like the younger generation really isn't going there anymore. And I just would have this constant vision of a show. And I thought, well, I'm not in the entertainment industry and I really don't care about celebrityism, but okay. And I said, well, if you want me to have a show, universe, then you better show me how. So I basically went in for an interview one day into Focus TV Network.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of hit it off with the producer, and he said, go ahead, start a show. So I just started a show. It was really, it was really just meant to be.
Wow, it was guided, yeah. And I know that through Soul Society, once you became achieved and self-made millionaire, you are now on a mission to help other women to achieve that through connecting to their soul. That's why Soul Society, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so you are helping women, young entrepreneurs, to be in their truth. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. I think over time, I know later in the show, you might want to ask me about what I would tell my younger self. We're going to talk about
Mm-hmm.
that. And, for me, it was about when I wrote my book, for example, I wrote it for me, for that little 22-year-old little girl that was so
Mm-hmm.
lost. And so for me, all the women in my life represent, an aspect of me, knowing our oneness, right? So I just think, what good is it for each one of us to become some public figure and have this wisdom? The greatest thing I can think of, the greatest leaders teach and train leaders.
Yes.
So for me, it's about giving back, because
Yes.
it's not just about me and how do I want to leave this planet and what's the legacy. And so I know that you're doing that as well, right? It's it's a trickle down effect, as they say.
Yes.
So in society, we truly believe that when somebody awakens, they have a gift and message to bring to the world. And so our mission is to be the #1 spiritual coaching community, because developing leaders and coaches that can teach this and take it out to the world is really like when I'm on my deathbed one day, I'm going to go, did I do everything I could do? And that's what I had to make peace with myself. We do death meditation. And it sounds really kind of morbid, but it's one of the best things you can do, and one of the blessings that come out of this time during ups and downs of, all kinds of things going on in the world, is think about your death. What do you want to, what are you going to need to do in this lifetime to feel like you really gave it your all and are totally complete? So that's what we do. And we take the girls through certification programs or from whatever, to teach them the mindset of really embodying universal truths, understanding how to reprogram the subconscious mind,
Mm.
teaching them how to do what we call the truth triangle and E4 trauma method, and getting them certified in the work so they can take it out, whether they do individual clients or do other, group things or whatever. We have girls that have taken tours around the world together, all kinds of things. So it's been really super fulfilling, so fulfilling.
I believe that because it's all about paying it forward, right? It's all about affecting as many people as possible. So, yeah, wow, that's great. That's great. And on this show, we talk about a lot. We talk about self-care. And I know that a huge part of self-care is knowing how to set healthy boundaries with people. And you're an expert on that. So could you touch upon that?
Yeah.
Could you explain
I
to
think
our
it's so
ladies?
it's so fascinating because if you take a look at the word devil, first of all, we don't believe in the devil from a
Mm-hmm.
metaphysical standpoint. But what if the origin of devil is actually the origin is out of bounds, is what it's called.
Mm.
And as I know so well, because I was a total codependent majority of my life, which meant that I placed my power, I would hand my power over to relationships, making them the source of my joy, which instantaneously made them the source of my suffering. And what happens is, we kind of entangle in relationship. And so in order to set healthy boundaries, we have to do that. We have to do that in all areas of our life. And so a lot of the work when I'm working with clients or training the women in understanding how to teach this, a lot of it is we birth the true power. And part of that is really acknowledging where we've handed our power over and then placing boundaries in our personal and professional life so that we can live in accordance with our own value system
Mm-hmm.
and still allow people their truth, but allow ourselves to have our relative truth, because there's ultimate truths and there's relative truths. Ultimate truths are like energy cannot be destroyed. Relative truths are like, I like that or I don't like that. And so it's super important to understand how to place boundaries. And it is something that we just don't teach our young women, especially, and men as well. And it's something that if you want to be empowered and you want to become the CEO of your personal and professional life as a spiritual leader, you've got to learn your truth and then place your boundaries so that you can live your truth without angst, without upsets, without arguments, with all that stuff that it just doesn't work.
Yes, yes. And I know exactly what you're talking about because for me, this was a longest journey. I've like just like you, I was in that sort of relationships before. And it people sometimes think it's just about the love relationships. No, how you're being in one area of your life, that's how you're being everywhere else. So it was like that in my jobs, it was like that with my parents, it was like that with everybody and anybody. So every single area got affected, and I had to really like hire experts and go through workshops and like figure it out on my own. And when it finally clicked, it felt like I fell in love with me. And all of a sudden, it felt like there was this veil over me this whole time, and someone took it off. And all of a sudden, I felt like, oh, that's me. Like I was there all this whole time, I was there inside. But now I see, and now I'm not afraid to step out and be that person that I know myself to be inside, be that for others.
I'm
So
so happy for you.
mhm.
I'm so happy for
And
you.
it's such a beautiful experience. And when you have that, it's very easy to set those boundaries, right? Because now you know, like you respect yourself, you know what your truth is, and you know how far you will let people go, or how far you will go with people. So
So true.
yeah,
It's like the
yeah,
universe is like pushing you, like it's going to dangle little carrots. It's going to push you until it's like all about commitment. What do you really want? What are you
yeah,
really committed to? And it'll just keep pushing you and
yeah,
pushing you,
yeah.
nudging you until it's like, it's trying to get us clear. It's trying to get you clear. It's trying to get you committed.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so when I say radiant beauty, what comes up for you? What was the first thing that comes up?
I think that Plato had a great definition of what beauty was. And he spoke about the divine connection. And really that part of us, that there's this infinite like spark that comes through that is radiant. We've all seen beautiful women, exterior, lots of beauty, but they open their mouth or their
Mm,
attitude and all of a sudden you're like, not so pretty after all,
mhm,
right? For
mhm,
me, my definition of beauty is someone who's truly connected to their true self. They know what they like. They don't have to make other people wrong.
mm,
They are into their vibration, and they recognize that yes, food is important, but getting upset can be more toxic than a candy bar. So living in our grace is the greatest source of radiance, for sure, by a long shot.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that. And now let's get to the last question. What is that one solid piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
I would say that, of course, self-love and unconditional love. But if you tell people that, they can't necessarily embody it, right? I remember hearing that years back and reading a book all about self-love, and I was like, wah, 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 wah. Yeah, right, you know. For me, I would definitely give the advice to my younger self. If I spoke with her right now, I would say if there's one thing to do, it would be to do your emotional trauma work. Because in that, not only will you neutralize the limiting beliefs and release some of those things for you to reclaim the truth of who you are and the power that you are, but in spotting the limited beliefs that you decided in the midst of a traumatic incident, you will also spot the profound miracle that if you're able to create something that bounds you for that long, that you potentially could make a decision that unbounds you and sets you free at a prolific rate. So if there's one thing, do your inner trauma work, and in that, miracles happen.
Yes, that's where the freedom is, and that's where, yeah, we get to realize that full potential we actually have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is so amazing. And I know that you are offering today to our ladies, to our viewers, a very generous gift. And I would like for you to tell us a little bit more about that. And then we'll tell ladies where to find it.
I'd love that. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that's really been inspired is to build more community. I think community is the most important thing right now. I think it's the quantum leap that we're taking as an entity, as the human race. And I believe that it's really important to find your tribe and get grounded in. So I actually have created a free community part of Society, which is called the Inner Circle. And in that, we have so much free content. Of course, you get the free book with 40 guided meditations and a digital manifesting masterclass. You also get a free prayer Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then some of the ambassadors are also doing soul circle sessions where there's support groups and just helping kind of knowing the truth for people. And there's a private Facebook group. There's all kinds of things, services that just to help get grounded in truth. And so it's something that I just wanted to do that's a service that I know the universe has to reflect back exponentially. So they can simply go to soulsociety.com, Inner Circle. They can go to my Instagram. It's in my bio and all the above. My Instagram is at drerin.tv, which is DRERIN.tv. I'm across all social media as drerin.tv, and the website. You can even go to drerin.tv and go to the website as well. So it's all there. I'm so excited. I look forward to seeing you in there and having you bring your voice and your message with the women as well, because we have lots of amazing people around the world.
And I know that because few of my friends are part of Society. So I watch you guys. I know you. I know you. So I can wait. This is like Christmas, you guys. Would you agree? Usually we get one gift from every speaker. This is like you get this, you get that, you get all that. And on top of that, you get also that. This is like 10 gifts in one. Thank you so much
We're abundant. We're totally abundant. Thank you so much for all your work and for all the women or men, whoever's watching this. I just say that be yourself. The most beautiful thing is a unique expression of you. And we want you. The greatest gift you can give to the world and produce is the highest version of yourself. You're here to experience the depths of your soul and form. And we are just so honored to have your innovation, your inventions, your personality, your laughter. That's what we want.
Thank you. And with that said, I mean, there is nothing to add to this. So thank you, ladies, for participating. Thank you for watching today. Let us know what was your biggest takeaway from today's conversation, and we'll see you tomorrow.